Hey guys, what's going on? This is your coach Alejandro, and I want to tell you guys how the past 5 years how I've been able to keep off this weight. I've lost 25 pounds the first time I ever did a insanity in P90X, and for the past 5 years, the weight hasn't come back. The weight has stayed off, and a lot of the habits that I had before even beginning my journey, they've also they've also stayed. They haven't come back, and if I occasionally have uh, ice cream shake or whatever, it's very occasional. It's not something that I'm doing pretty much every day. But let me just say real quick before I go on and tell you more about my story. I come from a family where we're used to eating horribly. I mean, you think about everything basically fried or processed. When I was a kid, there would be the Great Value soda. Not the brand new soda, but there would be the value soda. Basically, at every meal, we would have a chocolate milk mix, bologna. I mean, you think of merchant noodles. I mean, this was daily things in my diet when I was a kid. So this was going on throughout the years, and I didn't have anybody to tell me, hey, that stuff you're eating is processed, is really bad for you. You shouldn't be eating that. I had to find out these things myself. And for me to break out, the toughest thing for me was leaving behind soda, the sugar addiction, and chocolate. These were two things for me that when I was doing insanity for the very first time, I would still have about 1 to 2 sodas a day. This was Pepsi and Squirt, which were my two. They were my favorites. Um, but just the whole letting go of that was really difficult. So if you're thinking, well, you have no idea what I'm going through, you have no idea, how hard this is. I do. I really do. In high school, I used to get the double quarter pounders with the large fries with the extra large Coke, and then I would just go and get a McFlurry after. So I was that guy that after practice I would do that, or before a game, or anytime I was feeling hungry, I would go over the top with portions more than my body needed, and obviously it reflected. And I was also a drinker in my first year of college before I started working out. I was a huge binge drinker. I would just lose track of how much beer I was drinking, honestly. And it was such a really unhealthy spiral that just kept on dragging me down and dragging me down. I mean, it came to a point where I just didn't have any energy to do anything else except school, and that's basically it. I didn't want to do anything else. I didn't want to work out. I tried doing the gym thing. I would go maybe twice a week for 3 hours daily, and I can't tell you enough how I would just do a few reps, and I would wait 10, 15 minutes to do the next set. It was just really inconsistent, I guess, if that makes sense. And so for me, what really helped me was the accountability that I had with my good friend of mine. His name is Ulises, and my brother. So it was the summer of the World Cup, and I really wanted to get back into playing shape. I really wanted to make some changes. I had gotten home at around 2:30 in the morning from this party I was at, and I was just really unhappy with some of the choices that I was continuing to make. And I just remember being so unhappy, looking at myself shirtless in the mirror, and telling myself, wow, how could you let this go on for so long? Why? What's the matter with you? You should be doing something about this. You need to do something. Tomorrow will be day one. You need to get going with this. And so I was laying down before going to bed, and just weirdly enough, it was like God knew what I was feeling, right? Because the Insanity infomercial was on, and I've never even seen this program, but it just looked super intense. It looked really cool, and I said, "Man, I need to let my brother know and my friend know that we're doing this. We're gonna commit to this. We're doing this." And we ended up starting the following Monday after that. And oh my goodness, the first 5 minutes was just a warm up. We were going through that, and we were just poured in sweat. And so when we found out that it was just the initial warm up, it was not the whole workout yet. We're like, oh my goodness, this is gonna be so crazy. Ended up losing 25 pounds during the whole 60 days of that program. Um, during the whole course of the 60 days, though, more than the 25 pounds was changed. I mean, I was able to lose that weight, but the important thing that changed within my body was leaving the sugar addiction. I mean, that for me was huge. I stopped drinking soda after month one of insanity because I noticed I wasn't going hard enough. I was still lagging with some of the moves. I wasn't pushing at my strongest because I would just feel wiped out, and it was because of the high sugar intake with the Coke. And once I stopped drinking the soda, I noticed my body was like, "Oh yeah, this is what you need. This is what you want." And month two came in, and I was just pushing so hard, and it was more efficient. The chocolate thing was still an issue though. So when I first began day one of P90X after graduating Insanity, I purchased Shakeology for the very first time. And for me, back then, I didn't really work. I was barely making enough money. So for me, Shakeology was an investment for my health, an investment for me. And I really believe my coach would put me on the right path. I got very blessed to have an amazing coach. And she told me, hey, within a week, these are some changes that you'll expect. These are some changes that you'll see, right? And so within that week, I noticed my chocolate fix, boom, it was gone. Like honestly, after the third day, I could look at the candy rack they have when you check out at Walmart or anywhere else, and you have chocolates, you have those Ferrero Rochers, those turtles filled with caramel, and I wasn't craving that. I honestly was not craving that because I had my chocolate Shakeology fix every day, and it just gave me so much energy with these workouts. And so for me, leaving the sugar, then replacing that chocolate addiction with nutrients, with superfoods, with everything, just made my workouts even better and made my focus even better. And at school, at work, I was performing a lot better too. It was such a huge change. And so for me, a lot of resistance came with my family. They were telling me, you're losing too much weight, you're working out too hard, you're spending too much time with this. I mean, you're trying to do something really positive for yourself, but then you have this resistance of you need to be eating more. You need to have these extra enchiladas or whatever, right? And I understand you if you're in that same position where you're trying to do something good for yourself, but then people tell you, well, you don't have to be doing that so much, or you've already done enough. After you're done, we'll go out, we'll have drinks. And I'm not saying that a drink is bad or not, but if that's something that you're gonna jump back into, you're beginning these healthy habits, you're beginning this new lifestyle change with these workouts for a specific purpose to have more energy and to add more value to yourself. So why jump back into that pool of negativity of things that will drag you down, like I did when even before you began your workout program and even before you start eating healthy? So what I did was I also became a coach, and I surrounded myself with people that had goals that were going to support me, and I was able to check up on them as well. And it was just a huge circle of accountability. So for me, it was a lot easier for me to be surrounded by people that also had the same mindset and that they were going to cheer me on when I was on day 30, day 60, day 90, and even beyond. It took my family until my second round of P90X for them to catch on and say, hey, well, you know what? We want to make changes too. We want to do this with you. We want to get going because I need this in my life. And I had several conversations with my family on things they should be eating, things they should be living out of their diet. And for me, it was such a huge blessing for me to be able to help them with that. And it was just, for me, let me tell you something. If you're the first person in your family that's making this change, you have to know to stay strong, because you are going to be that change that God will use in order to affect every other person in your family. If your family has never been really healthy, if your family has a long history of heart problems or cancer, whatever it may be, you will be that change. My family's history, there's people with diabetes or that just sugar addictions, and there's cancer. But that's the thing, is we don't fall into that category. We have a choice. We have this choice daily where we decide if we are going to work out, if we're going to eat healthy, and you are part of that change. So right now, if you're on this journey and you're experiencing a lot of negativity pulling you and just dragging your energy, I suggest you surround yourself with people that will help you, that will keep you accountable, so that way you stay growing and you're going to be able to help your family just dive into that healthy lifestyle eventually. Just stay strong and know that what's going on with you right now, you'll be able to help out more of your family as well. So with that, guys, that's been the craziest thing on my journey. That's been the best thing so far. And for the last 5 years, I've been able to keep that consistent. There's been times where I'm more ripped, I'm more muscular, I'm more lean, I'm just in between. But I've never gotten back to before insanity. I've never regressed that much. If I do, it's because I stopped working out as extremely. I fall back. I'm not as huge as I was with Body Beast, but I've never fallen back into that old lifestyle where I was drinking, where I was eating a bunch of crap I was supposed to be eating, the candy, the chocolates, all these habits, they've been really sustainable with this healthy lifestyle that I've been just living for the past 5 years, and that I will continue to do until I breathe my last breath. And honestly, it gives me so much energy. It just makes me so aware of everything else going on in my day. I'm able to hike now. I'm able to do things I couldn't do before I began working out. I'm able to enjoy the day much better than anybody else struggling that's overweight, that's not in the best shape ever. And let me tell you, if you're watching this and you've been waiting to do something, you can also do this. If I was able to do this with just no family history of fitness or health, and with all these crazy habits of soda and chocolate, you can do this too. You have to believe that you can, and you have to believe that today you can also begin this journey.